Once again, centralization. Again, it was a mistake. To centralize, you need a lot of ability to be able to centralize. And it's better to commit the mistake of the people themselves with their little experience and continuously gaining their experience, running small cooperative unions. It's better to commit the mistake there than to run the risk of centralization. When you make a mistake there, the mistake is very serious.
Julius Nyerere, as Tanzania's president, philosopher king, shaped the country's policies and image to his own designs, moving later in his career into a new role as international proponent of the Third World Cooperation.
But I go out, and sometimes I get annoyed, but sometimes I don't get annoyed. Here I am, former president of my country, no problem in Tanzania. We've never had these problems that they have. But I'm an African, and they see me, and they ask me the problems of Rwanda. I said, but I don't come from Rwanda. But you come from Africa.
What's the difference?
But I don't meet everybody. I don't meet an Englishman somewhere. If Blair was to come to Dar es Salaam, I don't ask him what is happening in Bosnia. It never occurs to me. I should ask Blair, what is happening to you Europeans because of what is happening in If President Kohl was to come somewhere, I don't ask him, what is happening in Chechnya? Well, Kohl could say, why are you asking me anything about Chechnya? I don't know what is happening in Chechnya. But this is not true about Africa. About Africa, Mr. President, you go, here you are, trying to build something which is a tremendous experience. But perhaps you are different, because sometimes they think South Africa is different. So perhaps they would say, but this is President Mandela, this is different, it's not... But for the likes of me, no, I'm an African. And I say, sometimes I get irritated, but then I say, why? Why do I get irritated? Because, of course I'm a Tanzanian, but what is this Tanzania? What is this Tanzania? Why should these Europeans see me as a Tanzanian? What is this Tanzania? This is something we tried to create in my lifetime. I built Tanzania. So what is this Tanzania? The Europeans are right. The North Americans are right to look at me as an African.
As African countries became independent, several African leaders like Nyerere and Kwame Nkrumah joined the non-aligned movement. Originally, non-alignment simply meant not aligned with either of the military and ideological camps.
If I go to Britain, I marvel at what has taken place. If I go to the United States, I'm overawed by the development there. If I go to China and see what they are doing, as that we can also do. That we can also do. Because it's primitive. You go into their factory, it's a primitive factory which has a roof, a leaking roof, and no cement floor, and they're producing glass there, they're producing other things. You say, that we can do, at home. And many things like that. If you go and you find the way they're organizing their communes, they're using tradition in order to break tradition. You say, we can do that in Africa too. And many things like that. Africa has experience. If really Africa wants to be objective, China has experience, which is very relevant to what is taking place in Africa at present. This is not a good thing to say, with the others who see China as merely a threat and not some country from which we can learn. And then there are others China is doing.
He sometimes led campaigns for world peace and nuclear disarmament while allying himself closely with distinguished leaders like Pierre Trudeau of Canada, Olof Palme of Sweden, Willy Brandt of Germany, and Terje Erlander of Denmark. Nyerere met Prime Minister of Canada Pierre Tedu, Queen Elizabeth of Britain, Australian Prime Minister and US President John Kennedy on bilateral and multilateral cooperation.
The President of Tanganyika, President Nyerere.
I always associate the United States with freedom. During those days when we were struggling for our freedom and having chosen the method of peace to achieve our freedom, I used to come almost annually to the United Nations organization to plead the cause of the freedom of my country. And every time I think of the United States, I think also of the freedom of my people.
Nyerere stepped down as president and Ali Hassan Mwinyi took over the reins of power. Nevertheless, Nyerere continued to be an important political figure by retaining the position of chairperson of the ruling party Chama cha Mapinduzi, which had been formed in 1977 after the amalgamation of the Afro-Shiraz Party and TANU. The principles and values that Mwalimu Nyerere stood for still arouse deep interest within and between schools of thought a decade after his death. Nyerere humbly retired from active politics and moved back to his childhood home in the village of Butiama in western Tanzania. Of the many things this son of Africa will be remembered for was his humble, peace-loving, fight against corruption, crusader of justice, and non-believer in tribal or ethnic sentiments. Nyerere traveled more widely after retiring than he did when he was president of Tanzania. He was tasked to mediate the conflict in the countries of the Great Lakes, Rwanda and Burundi, and also DRC. He passed on the duty of mediating the Burundi peace crisis to Nelson Mandela, partly due to deteriorating health. He died in a London hospital of leukemia on October 14, 1999. Tanzanians and the world mourned the death of this great son of Africa. He was given a well-deserving send-off. Julius Nyerere has left a rich legacy still loved by his people and by many others all over.